Hello everyone, my name is Anton, and in this video I want to give some feedback on AnyType. It's a object-based productivity solution that calls themselves the Everything app. It's closely comparable to Capacities, and in some ways they're almost like clones. But Capacity does certain things a certain way and have some additional capabilities that AnyType does not have. Plus, AnyType's open source, so I want to kind of go through some of the pros and cons that I've seen with AnyType, and I'm going to do that ahead, before I get into showing the application and showing all the stuff that it can do. I'm going to just jump right into some of the pros and cons that I see with AnyType, and it will be in some way comparison between AnyType and Capacities because they're kind of like close competitors. Now, AnyType does support on its desktop side, Windows and Mac, and they also support iOS and Android applications. Their iOS and Android apps are pretty good on mobile devices, and when I say mobile, I'm talking about mobile phones. But when you get to a tablet, that's when it really breaks down the user experience, because what you're getting is a phone app that's being blown up to work on a tablet. And on the Android side of things, if you're using an Android tablet and it is bigger than your phone, which they typically are, it forces you into portrait mode, which is not the kind of the right orientation for a tablet. Typically you want your apps to run in landscape mode for the most part, but AnyType, for whatever reason right now, it does not support landscape on at least the tablets that I've been using, the Android tablets that I've been using, like the Galaxy Tab Ultra. The version that I currently have on my system right now is 0.43.4. This is the beta release. It's all a beta release, but this one's kind of a pre-release to the release. There's been some updates, and I would say a lot of updates since I actually started getting into this and started writing down my feedback on this product. So, a lot of stuff is changing as I am actually using this tool, but the changes have been mostly towards the UI and just a little bit of tweaks here and there. So let me get straight into the pros and cons, and then what I'll do is the second half I'll get into some of the foundational elements of AnyType and kind of things you need to know if you're going to actually start using AnyType if you haven't used it before. Now, on the pro side, this pro is basically kind of a general pro for object-based note-taking apps and PKM solution, is that there are no traditional folders that you have to work with. So you don't have to worry about having a folder on your hard drive, managing folder structures, so on and so forth, and everything that comes with that. There's more of a database on the back end side that's being used, which adds a lot of flexibility, I think, in my opinion, and it kind of removes the need to worry about folder structures and hierarchies from that standpoint. And also, if you're making changes like on the Obsidian side, where if you have configurations that are tied to folders, you don't have to worry about that here, to where you might change a name to a folder or delete a folder, then break a configuration. So don't have to worry about that. Within AnyType, they do have what's called objects. It is an object-based type solution, and those objects can be organized still, but they are organized via sets and collections. So we'll get into some of that there later. Another pro here, which could be a con as well, it could sit on both sides, is that this is an open source solution. So if you like open source and you like the ability to be able to look at the code and things like that and contribute, then it is open source. So that's one there for the pro. And again, that could be a con as well. The desktop app and the mobile phone application is pretty good. So I've not really had any issues with the apps, other than the way the UI looks. It does not look as, I guess, modern as most other applications do today. But other than that, it's functional, right? You can get in and do what you need to do, and it's really fast. So that would be the next pro. The application, I have not seen any slowdowns, and it's actually surprisingly faster than I thought the app would be. So yeah, that's another win in my book. Another plus here is end-to-end encryption, and you own your own keys. So you get the keys when you're creating this vault, you own them. Again, for some people, this might be a con, because if you don't manage and maintain your own data and your encryption keys, then you could get locked out of your own vault and your own information. But if you are one who likes privacy, then this end-to-end encryption does give you that privacy, even when you're syncing across devices. And I have to say that if we're doing the comparison between Capacities here, this is one that sets it apart from Capacities, because Capacities does not have end-to-end encryption today. And based off what I've seen in their what's not next page, they don't intend on putting any focus in this area anytime soon. So if you need end-to-end encryption, then right away this solution is probably more suited to you than Capacities is. You do get multi-device synchronization, and it's all encrypted. The sync works very well. I've not had any issues during my time using it, and I've been syncing across iPads, MacBooks, my Android phones, and Android tablets with no hiccups at all. So I think the multi-device and the sync aspect of things works very well, and should not give anyone any issues or pause from that standpoint. Another big win here is offline first. Now, I'm a big proponent of using offline first type of applications, where once the internet goes off, your application still runs and functions the way it should run, and then when the internet comes back on, it's able to sync back to the cloud if you have it configured that way, or if not, again, it just runs as the application should, and you have full functionality of the application, and you have full access to your data. So this is a big plus for me. And in that comparison with Capacity, while they have started implementing offline, it was not built as an offline first at its foundation. So it's not right now fully set up to give you that offline capabilities, and it's a partial offline setup right now. They are working to make it, I guess, more of an offline capable application. I'm not sure if that's going to be 100%, just because of all the data that you could put in there, how they're going to handle mobile devices versus desktops, etc. But they are working on an offline capabilities, which is at least something good to see. Version history is another pro with AnyType, and this is again another big one for me. Kind of those big ones are end-to-end encryption, offline first, and this version history, where it's not just a Control Z, where if you fat finger something or delete something, and you just do an undo. This here is more of, as you're making your changes, you're getting incremental history and log to where you can do restores that it may have been. I don't actually know what the time limit, like how often they take the snapshots, so we'll have to look into that. But this is definitely one of those, you can come back days and still have different versions and restore different versions from at least days back. And just like with the end-to-end encryption and the offline capability, version history is not there in Capacities right now. So they are working on version history and backups and automated backups, but version history is not there today. So again, I'd have to give the win to AnyType if you're someone that needs to have version history within the application. Then you have template, which you can get that in Capacities as well. You have collections, which acts like folders. You can do bulk import here. This is another standout difference between Capacities, because on the Capacity side, they do not have bulk import at the time of them recording this video. I think it's something that they still have in their roadmap that they're working on, but the bulk import here works really well. It's pretty fast. I've had no issues with it. And then on the backup side, you do have native export. Now, while this is, I guess, not an automated way of getting backups, you do have the version history, so that at least gives you something. But here, you can manually export your data either as Markdown or as the native any block format, so that you can get your data back if you can't get it back via the version history, where it's more an incremental level. If your entire vault, for whatever reason, goes to bed and gets screwed up, then you can actually do a restore, full restore, using one of these methods. And I should say that this actual export is something that you can actually do within the tool, and you get it right away. It's natively built right there in the desktop application. And this is something you can't do with Capacities as well. So with Capacities, you basically go in and you say you want to back up, you click the button, and eventually you'll get an email link to a zip file of your backup that you can download. So what are some of the cons? Because there are a lot of positive things about AnyType that are there. What are some of the cons here? Now, the biggest con for me is that this is still a beta. So things could change, you could lose data, all the risks that comes with using beta software is there. So if you move forward with using this application, just understand it's a beta, and you just go in and back up your data often. I would recommend, so that if something does go sideways with this particular project, at least you will have an export, not just a native formatted one. You will have a markdown formatted one that you can basically put into Obsidian, Joplin, or any other type of application that supports Markdown. The next con is that the tablet support, it sucks. It's not great at all. So it's not a great experience using AnyType on a tablet device. It's better on an iPad just because you can use it in landscape mode, but it doesn't take advantage of the extra real estate, and it's not great at all. It does work well on a phone and on desktop, but tablet support, it's not great at all. The other con that's there is that and these are my cons because this might not sit in anyone else's list, and we're also comparing this to Capacities. So there are no AI features like you get with Capacities. You at least have an AI chat that you can work with. You can have AI autofill properties in Capacities. You don't get that here at all. So no AI features to enhance and improve efficiencies within your note-taking world. It's just something that's there. If you don't need it, then obviously this is not a big deal. But the AI features within Capacities, I think they've done a pretty good job on how they've implemented it, how it helps you fill in certain properties, and how the chat is there for you to ask specific questions, and you can hook it up to OpenAI's API, so that you don't even have to use their particular AI credits that they give you when you use their product. There are no integrations. So on the Capacity side, you have integrations with other tools, and one of them being task management applications to get you task actions. You're not going to get any of that over here. You can work with tasks in here, so that is at least a plus. But anything, if you already have your Todoist or your TickTick or your Microsoft To Do or other applications, which most people probably already are using something else out there, you can integrate this with that. So if you're looking to do that, then Capacities is obviously more suited for that particular scenario. And the other one, which might just be something I've overlooked or I've missed, for me, this con is that there's no task management. I've been looking through this application, and I have not been able to see where I can go in and manage my tasks from one particular view. I can go into the tag relation, which is basically a property, and get to the tags from there, but it's not a proper tag management area for dealing with tasks and doing bulk actions, so on and so forth. So my final thoughts on the pros and cons there is really the end-to-end encryption, offline first, bulk import, and version history is really what sets AnyType apart from Capacity. So if you're looking for any of those particular features, because they're not in Capacities now, you're probably going to want to take a deeper dive into AnyType and see if this fits your needs. Capacities is working on all of these features except for the end-to-end encryption. So eventually, they will have most of these tools, like the bulk import and the version histories, taken care of, and even improve on the offline features that they have. But end-to-end encryption is still something that is probably up in the air. They basically said they're not even entertaining it right now because they have other priorities that they're working on. Okay, so that's going to do it for this video. If you found value, don't forget to like and subscribe, and until the next time, have a nice day.